Hey everyone, it's Wolfran here, and I was going to do a straightforward video on an update as to how the progress is going in terms of making ISK, so you can see that process generally as part of my grind towards the Rattlesnake, which still is sitting at around 11.5 billion ISK, but then what happened was a complete disaster, and I lost my Cynabal in what can only be described as a stupid mistake. So it happened a couple of days ago, and since then I've just been sorting it out in order to deal with it. Sorry, I should have done this, shouldn't I? There it is, 2.5 billion loss. Really stupid mistake. Unfortunately, I don't even have any footage of it. I was doing Soldier's Way, and what happened was the last wave spawned right on top of the Cynbal, which generally isn't a problem, and that wasn't the problem. Actually, what happens is, because then I just normally just boost straight away from the pack, pick off the micro warp driving frigates and deal with things. I have the Phantasm with me, so it really shouldn't have been a problem at all, but I made a stupid mistake, and that mistake cost me a lot of ISK. So the mistake was simply my settings. When I do the basic encounters, I have auto orbit target on. When I'm doing the storyline missions T8 and T10s, I have that off so I can control whether I'm approaching, whether I'm orbiting. And so what happened was they spawned on me, I locked them all up, and as a result I kept on. When I started to try and move away from the pack, all that happened was it kept on turning around and going deeper into the ball of death that was some 30 odd ships, and by the time I realised, I was already in half hull and I just couldn't get it out. Got the Phantasm out without a problem actually, but the Cynabal, as you can see, lost. Not much I can do, not much I can really say about that. It was a stupid mistake. It's cost me a lot, but I wanted to show it to people so they can see it isn't. The reality in the game is, it is a game. You will lose things. The old adage is, don't fly what you can't afford to lose. I couldn't afford to lose it, but I couldn't afford the cost of Cynabal to replace it, because they are also now much more expensive. I bought this ship originally for 1.5 billion. And now they're substantively more because of the cost of ship debris. And of course, I've got all the blue stuff on it and all that sort of stuff. So it didn't. And the rigs are stupidly expensive. Now, luckily, I don't claim at all very many ships on the ship recovery, so I was eligible for ship recovery, which I obtained. There we go. It was returned to me. Of course, because I was scrammed, I don't get anything else back, which wasn't. Well, it is a bit of a problem, but not a disaster. At least I got the hull back, and so I had to spend a lot of ISK on rekitting the Cynabal. Actually, the blue faction loot, the blue loot, isn't that expensive for it. I'm going to run through the current fitting I've got, the compromises I've made, so you can see my Cynabal fitting, and I'll see if I can run a quick encounter to show you actually how effective this ship is in running these T8 encounters, in running the storyline encounters. But firstly, if we just deal with the fitting, this is how I've got it fit at the moment. GSTC type medium autocannons. There is no other option on the ship. I think you're insane if you put strike cannons on it. It's not designed for that. You've got you've very short range on optimal, but huge accuracy fall off. I easily hit at 20 kilometers, and I've hit at 30 kilometers before for decent damage. I orbit about 4 kilometers. It is what I aim at. This is a brawling up close ship. Where it's gone. Yeah. When it went wrong, you saw it go wrong, but there we go. If I had the footage, I would have shown it, but there we go. These things happen, and it's my mistake. I'm happy to say it's completely my mistake. Those give me absolutely massive DPS, 948. In fact, I can get a bit more DPS, and I'll show you what I will do, upgrade in order to get more DPS. That's cold, hot with the I run the 2. I've got basic basic gyro stabilizers in. The blue ones are 50 million. The basic ones are a couple of 100,000. All the gyro stabilizers give you the same cold damage bonus, 5%. When you activate them, these ones give you 8% boost, and then obviously there's a penalty on the second one if you activate. So there's not straight 5%. There are penalties. It explains you could get a penalty if you use more than one, but it's still efficient to use two. If you boost, you get 8% for each one. If you buy the blue loot one, that's 9%. You get what, just under 1% increase, but the price difference is it costs you about 50 million for each. And I will eventually put those on, but I'm not going to put them on now. I have a Corellum medium afterburner. They're not cheap, but I've actually got a stack of them saved up from Dead Spaces that I've done. And then what I've got is the medium shield boosters, which is straightforward. Again, that's C-type, and the adaptive invulnerability field. I mean, you can take off one of these damage mods and put on another adaptive field if you want. I don't really find there's huge difference with the Cynabal because you do go about 1.1, 1.2 k a second, which means that you can pretty much speed tank as well in this. If you take a bit of damage, and the medium shield booster is enough to increase it. You can see my capacitor doesn't quite run stable. It almost runs stable sometimes. That's with everything on. You'll run the afterburner all the time. You run the adaptive invulnerability shield all the time. The shield, I generally find it runs absolutely fine for a little bit to patch you up or keep you going, and then once you're down to battleships or the larger cruisers, they really can't hit you. And they'll do a little bit of damage, but you can heal that up in little bursts without too much of a difficulty. So that's absolutely no problem. In terms of here, I've got a drone on. I do use the drone. It adds a little bit of DPS. You can see that DPS is actually 928. I don't think I've got any skills in drones. So it's just there for a little bit of extra. Stasis Webifier. I don't have the Predator on this one. I'm just using a Federation Stasis Webifier, so it's 13.6. But again, I aim to orbit in 4K, so it is fine. I will at some point probably get the Predator, but again, it's very expensive. At the moment, I'm running Caldari missions, so I do use the basic Guidance Disruptor. I also have a Tracking Disruptor if I'm going to do Tracking Disruption. If I'm running one of the other missions, the Galante and Mimitar missions, I'll swap it out and use that one. And I've just about managed to squeeze a large energy newt. I will eventually put the Vicalarcus one on. Again, that one's 200 or 300 million, whereas this one's a couple of million. It's huge difference. The Vicalarcus, I will put it on eventually, but considering I've got to completely refit this, and my aim is the Rattlesnake, and then of course to fit the Rattlesnake. It might be a bit of a budget build, but there we go. That's what I've put on this. So this one I've got a large. My previous build I ran two mediums, so I wouldn't have this third slot free. It's up to you what you want to do, really. I find the large is absolutely fine. Again, the engagements and cap, I hardly ever run out of cap or get in the position where I turn the shield off in any of the encounters, except when I'm in Soldier's Way. But as I said, that was a stupid mistake on my behalf rather than a problem with the ship. And in terms of rigs, I've got two aerator 3 rigs on. I saved a bit of money and built these myself, buying the blueprint. You only save about 10 million each. They're still an absolutely ridiculous fortune. Yeah, it's 120 million for these rigs each. So the rigs are costing me more than pretty much the entire fit in terms of the modules. I've only put a Cannon Burst Aerator 2 on, again, because that 60 million I think is like 200 million for the 3. And the difference in DPS, if I put the 3 on, is I'll get 957. Which is what I previously had. So at some point I will do it, but when I've got more cash. I've got Auxiliary Thruster 1 on, and at the moment, in order to fit the large energy newt, you're going to have to put Auxiliary Power Grid. In fact, I had an Auxiliary Power Grid 2 blueprint, so I just made that. You probably add an Auxiliary Power Grid 1 and have enough to fit it on. You're just shy of putting on the large energy newt. Of course, that's all skill dependent. I'm just finishing off advanced cruiser engineering, so if I've got enough energy grid, I will swap over, and actually I've got a polycarbon engine 2 lined up for this ship to put on it in its stead, and I've got a semiconductor memory cell 1. I'm not entirely sure I need that now with my engineering skills all the way up for the cruiser engineering, but at the moment I've got it and it seems to work. So that's my setup. If you've got some other suggestions for the layout here, absolutely, again, they'll be upgraded as and when ISK allows. But for the time being, this ship functions really well. I did say I'll show you skills, so I just want to run through the skills very quickly, just so you're aware. The Cynabal, before we do the skills, it's a roll bonus 50% warp speed, so it's actually great for running these low sec missions because you warp around much quicker than other ships. With acceleration, I don't use the damage control unit 5 seconds on top of what is already a short activation. I'm not using this PvP. This isn't a PvP fit. I don't use this ship in PvP. You need your advanced medium cannon operation bonus leveled all the way up, which does take a fair while to get the extra damage and reduce cannon time, and advanced cruiser command. I'm a 5.5 as well to get all those bonuses. So you do have to be skilled into this ship to really get the advantage of it. And you'll see cruiser, I'm a 5.5.3. Cruiser defense, I'm 5.4 and looking to increase. There, I've bought the skill, I just need some time to do it. In fact, I've been doing battleship stuff in readiness for the Rattlesnake. In terms of engineering, I'm now 5.4. I think if I'm 5.5, I can probably get rid of the ancillary power grid, but that's 11 days of training skills, so I'll see if I feel like it. I might do it at some point later. In terms of weapons, the relevant ones, cannon operation 5.5.3 and 5.5.3 in the upgrade as well. And that's, in my view, the relevant skills for this ship. My shield operation, I've got it up 5.4, 5.4. Really, that helps with the shield hardening as well as the shield operation itself. And that's pretty much it for the Cynbal. So I'm just going to do a encounter, show you what it's like. That's Soldier's Way I need to finish. I'm not going to show you that, but I need to go either Alt. See if there's any I've not done. You see the ticks, you can see all the ones you've done. As I said in the previous video, I'm not doing the Omar missions. They're just not worth it. They don't fare. This ship doesn't fare too well, especially with the energy newts. It really doesn't help. So I'll just refresh, see if there's anything. Oh, there we go. So I just got Business Magnate from doing this, so 2 jumps away. This is a straightforward mission. So we arrived here. The Cynbal has absolutely no problem with the 1.5 to 30 million ISK storyline missions. I have no issues with it at all. It pretty much auto-hits itself in. I'm happy to warp to 0 on it. I'll activate the adaptive invulnerability shield straight away, and just show you. And what you'll get is increasing waves, but basically you normally get destroy a couple of frigates. You'll get a bunch of cruisers, and this one you get one battle cruiser. The attack battle cruiser, the Naga. I always target the destroyers first to get rid of them, activate all these modules, and then I'll work my way through the cruisers, whichever's closest. Again, I can have this. This is the mistake I made. I have it on auto orbit for this, but I can pretty much leave it. See, the cruiser's been blapped off the. Of course, it targets the Naga, but this ship takes these things out absolutely no problem. If I activate one of these, just so you can see on the fittings, bumps the DPS to 1175. Navigation is just shy of 1.2, and defense is healthy, 30,000 hit points. It's very even in the hit points between shield and armor. I'm boosting shield, gives you a little bit more time to escape, I would say, but then again, I'm also the one who lost the ship. So basically, as you can see, it'll just tear through these with absolutely no problem at all. It'll take a bit of damage, either as it transitions between the targets, and sometimes takes a little bit as it's doing the targets. And again, I can run the shield booster. And that repairs about 4 or 5% of the shield each time. I can let it sit on the Naga, it really doesn't matter. After destroyers and frigates, it's very AFKable in the sense that I can have a second window open, I can do something else on the PC whilst it's doing this. As you see, the shield at this point isn't really taking out the cap too badly, but I'm at 100%, so I just turn it off. So I just give it a boost every now and then. I'm going to throw on the stasis web 5 for a bit of extra, and then I was just going to show you if I use both damage control. So both damage mods at the same time. You can max out the DPS at 1400. I generally don't do that. I run one. As soon as that one runs out, I'll run the other one. But that's what it looks like if you run both. So you can do a very respectable DPS for a cruiser, and it's a faction cruiser. But yeah, it will tear through this anomaly without too much difficulty at all. In fact, it's the other destroyer that's approaching me quicker, but again, there's not the threat here for this ship that's the problem. It's when you get multiple webs and you get your speed taken right down that you'll suddenly start taking too much damage. You'll have problems, as you'll see. I'll take out these destroyers without a problem at all. I orbit at 4. You will, with very fast ships, start to get a tracking problem at about 4, and you'll see. I know I'm doing damage without a problem on this one. Sometimes there's a problem, then you just tell it to approach to do that, and you'll do the damage, and you'll effectively one-shot whatever it is that you're dealing with. And that's pretty much it. So that's the Cynabal. The grind continues. I'll put up the figure for where I am with ISK total. This I'm still at 423 million on this, but I've spent quite a lot. The other ship I lost was my Retriever, a second time in a disaster. So in a matter of 2 days, I lost 2 ships, and that one's cost me a fair bit to refit as well. Hopefully that's not going to be a common occurrence, and it just is what it is. So I'll let the rest of this anomaly play out. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, leave any comments. I find the comments are helpful. I certainly don't want to hold myself out as an expert in Eve Echoes. I just do this because I find when I'm playing new games that YouTube and the community here is really good for learning how to do things, maybe also learning how not to do things in individual games. And I just want to put this stuff out there for people to see, let you know what you think, and let's all learn together. Anyway, thank you very much.